This project is, for me, an exploration of the inner turmoil that we all go through. It's important because the relationship we all have with ourselves is, the most unique, but also the most important relationship. Film was like a perfect opportunity to explore that. For me, the film is from my perspective. I wouldn't say it's autobiographical, but it's through my gaze. At its core, the film is about a person navigating life. The partnership between myself and Korsshan, arguably one of the most important partnerships on set. For me, Korsshan is that perfect balance between creative and technical.
Brother, there's a lady's hairdressers down the road.
I think every director is like a total different universe. We had an instant click that made me think, okay, I want to do this project. And then they sent me the script. Reading it was amazing. Just the first page, I was like, wow, this is great story and a fresh story as well, and unique. My starting point is to be able to adapt to their ways of working. And I think the most important is to understand the director themselves, where do you come from, what do you like, how do you think, what sort of decisions you take, even those kind of questions. I think in that way, everything else that the director gives you has another layer to it, and naturally the creativity of the film starts to come up. And it all starts to take form based on this dialogue. Everything starts to be filtered. Oh, you want to shoot this like that? What are you after there? Why don't we do it like this? No, maybe not. Okay, bye. Why don't we do it like this? Oh, maybe, and then slowly, finding the bones and the structure of the language. We had this cultural week, and a filmmaker from Barcelona came, and for a whole week we did a short. And I was mind blown. I was like, oh my God, people do this for a living? When I realized that, I was like, okay, that's it. I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna pursue that. And that's when I started to shoot with my Canon 5D, 500D, actually, not even 5D. And then I started the career, just shooting, editing, putting it together, shooting more, editing, putting it together. I became a runner, I became an AD, and I discovered the role of the cinematographer. We decided to go with the C300 Mark III. That was a preference from the director, and I think that was the right choice. We had a full set of Sumire lenses, which are gorgeous, genuinely gorgeous. We shot all of the focal lengths, including the 14, which is amazing. We also had a few zooms. I think we used the 45-135, and then what we really loved, and we used quite a few, and it's featuring the 50-1000 zoom, which we all loved. There's nothing really like the 50-1000 because of that, because it's a 50-1000, and that's a huge range, that not loads of zooms have. What I liked about that lens, and the reason why we used it, is because it not only isolates the characters fully when you go into those extreme lengths, 700, 800, 1000, it completely compresses the space so that literally pretty much everything is out of focus apart from the focal point. Also because of the franticness it gives. You can pan the camera literally a foot, and that movement is feels like so much movement, because it's so long. So that implements chaos into those shots, and that's what we wanted, because that's how the character feels. So we didn't light for the story. We decided that the weather was gonna rule the lighting, because the story should be really grounded into reality. Increasing the ISO, I think, boosts the exposure and is pushing the camera essentially 2 stops, so you see more in the dark. And then I think the more you push the ISO and then you underexpose and overexpose, you start to make the camera bring new textures that a clean image wouldn't bring, or grain after ingrading wouldn't bring. It just makes the image feel more three-dimensional. So actually we shot a shot at 6400, the last shot of the film, because it was really challenging. It was at night, and the 50-1000 is T8, and we didn't have lights to light at street, we only had lights to light the interior. So we pushed the camera, and then it's just amazing. It just looks amazing. It just holds everything. So I really like to shoot darker skin tones. I just find more interesting to see a texture that absorbs light rather than reflects. Just feels like the light is coming from inside them rather than, like they are being lit.
So the first one can be there, then can be there. Yeah, cool.
The impact, or what I would like them to take away, I think, is just look at themselves slightly differently, or look at the relationship that they have with themselves slightly differently. I'd love the viewer to be able to relate to some sort of aspect of it. What aspect is down to them.
You know, the picture is great, like it's beautiful texture, you know, I push the camera, like everything I did, I love.
Got it, brilliant. Really, really nice, amazing. Cut camera.